Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to New Life Live. Steve Arterburn here with Becky Brown.
Hello.
And it is Veterans Day. Jill Hubbard's going to join us here. I need a chiropractor. I woke up this morning with this horrible back thing.
I know a great chiropractor.
And here, but I get a chiropractor's wife. But I'm okay with that because there are other parts of me that need work too.
Well,
it is today. We want to be sure and mention it's Veterans Day. What a great day. And, you know, this really is a day to honor the heroism of anybody that has died in our country's service. That was the original purpose for this. I think it was called Armistice Day, something like that. Woodrow Wilson is the guy that started that. But we celebrate and we honor all of America's veterans for their patriotism, love, the willingness to serve. It's not just about dying for the country. It's anybody that served, and we so appreciate that. You can celebrate today by going to one of the Veterans Day events or donate to one of the organizations, fly a flag. We're doing that. Ask somebody about their service. Write. Don't confuse it with Memorial Day because, you know, now that's the day where we honor folks who died. But anybody that served. My dad served in the Navy. And I just showed you his Navy cap. And
I live in an Air Force town. We're surrounded by servicemen and women who serve in the Air Force. We do have an Army base as well, but it's always so impressive to go anywhere and you see them in their uniforms, knowing that they are giving their life for our freedom.
I'll tell you about a few weeks ago, this Baghdadi guy or whatever, who head of ISIS. And you hear about these 7 Apache helicopters coming in, and oh my goodness, the courage of the people that serve our country. And I thank God for everyone who has. I thank God for everyone who is. And the one thing you could do right now is you could pray for every person who's ever served. And the people that I really feel for are those, they didn't die, they served, but when they served, they are never the same again. I heard a story today of a guy who severed his leg to save the crew that he was in charge of in this tank, and you just go, whoa, how does that ever happen? Anyway,
I know, their commitment, they're all in, aren't they?
They really are. So, hey, if you want to join us on radio, we're always here at 1-800-NEW-LIFE with people. Radio, this broadcast, you can't call and join us on this one, but on a future broadcast, it's 1-800-229-3000, 1-800-NEW-LIFE to get help at any point. Now, Becky and I were at a marriage intensive, and I want to read a testimony from that, Becky, because this guy, he finishes with life-changing, but he says, these people help show me that I'm no longer broken and that I have the power to deal with issues in my life that I couldn't touch before. And they also gave me tools to communicate my feelings with my wife. And I'm very grateful to everyone here for their love and their time. They never make you feel bad about your issues, and they help you understand and turn in a way, and you never thought you could make that turn. Pretty cool.
Such a great couple, and their family has been changed.
You know why we don't make them feel bad? Because when Jesus met with people like the woman at the well, his thing wasn't to make her feel bad. He wanted her to change.
Right.
And he might have been the first redemptive conversation that she ever had. Probably never had a redemptive relationship. That's our goal here.
That's right. And when she goes to her city, she says, he knew everything about me.
Yeah, right.
And accepted me.
Pretty wonderful. We'll be back right after this. Thanks for joining us. 1-800-NEW-LIFE if you need some help. We'll be back.
I feel blessed to have had this opportunity for my needs to be met, connecting with other women who are fighting the same fight, hoping for healthy marriages and growing closer to the Lord on their journey.
My name is Shelly Martinkus, and I want to personally invite you to the Restore Workshop. If you have been affected by betrayal, it might be that your husband has been looking at pornography, it might be an emotional, a physical affair. I would love for you to come join us.
I feel encouraged and hopeful that even in my struggle, I am enough.
You will leave with hope, with a community of sisters ready to support you, and you will also leave with tools to move you forward on this journey.
Through the sharing in our small group, I realize that I am not alone.
Please don't hesitate. Pick up the phone, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I would love to see you there.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Washington, D.C. November 15th to the 17th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here. Dr. Jill Hubbard is in the studio.
I am.
And we've got Becky Brown here.
Hello.
And
Hello.
your phone calls. We're going to go to Sean. Sean's been a faithful listener and holder from my old stomping grounds, Fort Worth, Texas.
All right.
I went to California, Sean, with a bumper sticker on my car, Fort Worth, I love you. And people, they didn't like that, and it was kind of foolish. But anyway, Sean, you're a veteran, aren't you?
Yes, sir, I am.
Well, thank you for that.
And I just want, my pleasure. Thank you for having me on the show. My wife and I are faithful listeners. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to start out with a brief background, and then I'm going to ask a two-part question.
Okay.
I've had a porn addiction for the duration of the 12 years of my marriage. Last July, I got accountable with a program called Regeneration, and I went through the 12 steps. And in the inventory, it was revealed some triangulation that I had with my mom, and my dad had the same issue as a pastor, and my wife has childhood sexual trauma, and she's also, of course, had the trauma from my addiction throughout the marriage, and then also through the process of me revealing the specific aspects of my marriage. And we have read and are reading How We Love. She's an avoider, I'm a pleaser.
Okay.
My question: how can I help my wife to feel more safe and secure in the communication and in our marriage? And how can I be more open to accountability from my part in the trauma from my porn addiction?
Great question.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, Becky, I want to start with you, and then we'll go to Jill and see what she's thinking. But I'm so glad, Sean, that you held on and let
Yes.
us answer this for you. So you're saying 15 months have you been totally free, and you'd say you've experienced sexual integrity that long?
It's the longest in my life I've ever been porn-free.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right.
Congratulations, Sean. My question would be, what has she been doing for her own care and healing? You mentioned that she's had trauma, or like she's got her own stuff, and I always want to know, what is she doing?
Well, nothing.
Okay. So, of course, I would love for her to join us this weekend at Restore. We're going to be in D.C. in just a few days. The deep wounds that she's experienced, and then it has been compounded as she's been in relationship with you. That's not something that you're going to be able to fix, like, just doing 1, 2, 3, and we're going to wrap this up. But what I want to encourage you is, I love that you're sensitive to her. How can you help her? But that would be the one thing I would say. The other thing is, I wonder, are you guys doing the comfort circle? Just a question.
From How We Love?
Imperfectly.
Well,
It's okay.
everybody does it imperfectly.
Yeah.
That's what we love about it so much. And does it work for you guys? Because you describe her as being an avoider, and sometimes that can be a challenge.
Yes, to answer your question, we have tried to go through the steps in the comfort circle. Usually when we get to the resolution part, it gets kind of nebulous, and but we were able to talk, I think, through our feelings, but I think there's just trouble with the resolution in the end. Like, trigger for her is, what do you need?
Right.
Because that was a trigger word for her family dynamic growing up. It was not a, how can I help you, honey? It's a, what do you need? Get out of my face type of
So that's
thing.
what she hears.
That's what she hears whenever the questions kind of gravitate toward that. So I think that's kind of
I'd leave that out.
Yeah, can she help you rephrase it? Can you guys come up with something that doesn't have that triggering meaning for her?
Or just don't even ask that question.
Yeah, don't even include that as the end of it. Just let it be wonderful that you've expressed feelings, and somebody's reflected back and then,
because that may be
validated those feelings, and don't do that. So the basic question for us that you need then is what is the big issue here?
How can you help her with
that? But helping her, I just don't know, unless you're in couples counseling,
with a therapist that understands how we love, which we have some in that area.
Right, which would be great.
Any helping of someone who has been through her family, it's like you're inflicting a cure upon her, is a greater chance of it being interpreted that way. You're trying to not help her but you're trying to fix her.
What about just trying to understand her and to hear her? Like that's part of the comfort circle. To hear her, to hear her pain. And to, like you've already shared with us, that you have an understanding of what your issues are, how that feeds right into her dynamics.
Absolutely. And my heart's desire is to hear her as best as I can and try to understand it from her perspective as best as I can. I think that also to kind of put myself in the equation here, I tend to rebuff feelings, especially since I think I would like to say something of an attachment issue, to where I get very defensive in hearing the part that I have played to inflict the trauma on her.
Right.
And so that's kind of more toward the second part.
Well, that's because, Sean, because as a pleaser, you feel that anxiety when others are disappointed or are feeling that. So that's where that's coming from. You probably know that already from, reading the book. The other part is, if she is an avoider, she doesn't have the language yet to describe what she's feeling on top of the trauma that she's experienced. But here's the great news. There's hope for both of those situations. Like, trauma can be treated. We've got some great tools now that we've seen amazing things. We talk about EMDR on the show, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. But, there are a lot of ways to address trauma. But I think the best thing for them would be to get with a How We Love counselor, a counselor from our network that works with that and can help you walk through that.
And the biggest reason she's not getting help for herself is what? What would she say to that?
I can't really answer that question fully, other than to say that maybe it just hasn't been pursued on her part. I would say she was told that she has a dissociative personality disorder.
Okay, well, sometimes you get a label, you don't want to go back and get any more help because you don't want any more labels. So, but Sean, here's the thing, buddy. If you would do the work you need to do so that there is never a defensive word that comes out of your mouth, that's going to help her. You want to know how to help her? Never be defensive. I am an expert on how to explain and defend every problem I cause, and I absolutely know it is worthless and damaging, okay? So I have to give that up, and when I do, it helps her. Now, you've got to do that work yourself with a good clinician. So how do I help her? I go work on that to where she sees, whoa, this guy isn't defensive anymore. He has no need for that. Second thing, you find a great couples therapist will help you. And you're able to say about 5 months down the way now where you've been doing this work, hey, I know of a great counselor that helps couples, and they don't label people. They really could help us. The other thing is ask her if there's any way the two of you could come to the marriage intensive February the 15th.
That would be so
we
great.
will help you. We deal with this stuff all the time. You guys aren't so bad off. And look, here's the other thing, Sean. Whatever you have to do to stay pure and keep that sexual integrity, do that. That's the number one priority. That's what you've got going for you, so that you can say, I really have been consistent. I'm not stopping anything in that area. I want to love you the way you deserve to be loved in all ways, and I want us to be a healing relationship for each other.
Right.
So it's all work on you, and then you look for that open door if there's any way you could come to the intensive February 14th.
That would be really good, because that would be a safe place. And Sean, did you say that you've read Worthy of Her Trust? Because that helps to outline some things.
I Worthy of Her Trust. The Intimate Deception is one book that I've been reading.
I'll send it to you.
Send Worthy of Her Trust. You have to remember that your wife is a scaredy cat, okay? And you never charge a kitten. So you have to approach her in that way. And when she gets triggered, she becomes very young.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's important things to remember as you're moving along.
All right. I'm so glad you called, and congratulations on being that man that's had that sexual integrity. And I tell you, I whenever the answer is, okay, how do I help this other person? Okay, I got to do more work on me. Painful, but it...
Well, that builds the
I
trust.
found that the right answer usually always is the most painful, humbling thing that I didn't really want to hear.
Sometimes we don't even know where to get the answers, but we have a great app that people can download and look for answers there.
Yep, that's
How
true.
convenient is that?
New Life on the App Store. Go there. It'll help. Let's go to Joe, Colorado Springs, Colorado. Great station, KGFT. Joe, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you all today?
We're doing well. How are you?
We're okay. How could we help? We want to help.
Wonderful. Yes, and I also thank the vets that have given their lives and everything for me and my freedom. I thank God for them. My question is, I have a 9-year-old little boy who has ADHD, ADD, PTSD, depression, anxiety, and obstinate defiance disorder. I'm a single mom for him. He has a very low self-esteem, and he's quite angry and unhappy.
Okay.
He just got saved a few weeks ago at church.
Oh, good.
And I'm wondering if you have any advice for me. It seems like we argue anytime I ask him to do anything. It's just an automatic rebuttal.
Okay, so where's Dad? That's the first thing.
Okay, so the dad had a meth addiction, and we had some family disputes, domestic violence during that situation. Since then, in 2015, we moved away to be close to my family, over 300 miles away. He has not had any. He would have to go through a social worker and have supervised visitation through like FaceTime, and he's not done so in over 2 years. So he's not in a situation whatsoever.
Is that the source of the PTSD, or is there some other source that we don't know about?
Yeah, that's the source.
Okay.
Okay, and the violence in the home, you said?
So, well, I want to ask you, Joe, who are your support people? You said you moved to be by your family. Are you working? And I presume your son is in school. Like, tell us about your support.
So he goes to a Christian school, which is a lot of support. My parents are close to me. They're a lot of support. He doesn't get along with kids very well. He doesn't have a very good rapport with other kids.
Sure. And is your dad stepping up here and spending much time with him, or is that not possible?
Yes, he does.
Okay.
So my question, and you can answer this when we come back, is the medical assistance that's come in, if he's got all of these diagnoses.
You've been doing something.
Right, and if there's a counselor involved. So we can talk about that when you get back. But it's tough when you are on your own and you're raising someone who's really struggling with life at such a young age.
Sure, glad you called, though. We'll give you some help right after this. If you need help, it's 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We're there. People are there. They want to help.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Yeah, we're back talking to Joe here. Joe, we have a question to start with. Your son has a lot of labels, diagnoses. So what has been the prescribed for you? What's the treatment that these folks have suggested? What path are you following here?
Sure. Well, we go to a, it's not a Christian counselor. She has worked with him on and off for 4 years, or more on and off, and saying, like, he has to go every other week or every week. He's had consistent counseling. He's been on medications, and
so in the counseling, you're not seeing any kind of relief in the anger and the outbursts. Would that be accurate?
Correct. I'm not seeing a lot of. Yes, that's correct.
So what does the
therapy for him?
Okay.
What does the counselor say about that, as to why we're not seeing much progress or getting through here? Any comments from the therapist on that?
No, I asked for help for his obstinate defiance disorder, and they shake their heads and say, but I don't receive any help about it. She's not very educating as far as options that we can try, things we can do.
Okay.
She has in the past, had him cross his arms and he can rock and say everything's okay. Those kind of techniques, like the balloon,
Well, first thing, I don't want to discount anything that's happened there, but in Colorado, so many amazing specialists and Christian counselors there, and I want to see if we could help you find an option here, someone that could, if the results aren't happening, then they want to do something different pretty quickly because they really know that this is a crucial time at age 8 to 9, really crucial, and they want to do something. Jill, what are your thoughts?
At his age, Joe, he's established with this therapist, and I never want to say, we'll leave a therapist you're established with that he has a connection with. However, sometimes it is good to bring maybe another professional in, and I think at his age, he needs a male professional to start getting involved with him. So I don't know if there is another therapist in her office, someone that we could bring in that maybe we could even transition him to or to get a second opinion from. But I think he's needing some male input. It's really hard to be a single mom, and you're the only one there. And you know what? You can't be a dad, right? Mm-hmm. And it's almost better that his dad is not involved because that's harder when they're back and forth and really unstable and inconsistent, but he does need other males. So drawing from church, your family, having people that can come alongside him. At the same time, that's not going to take away that hurt he feels and the lack of being able to, know his dad and identify with that. And he is going to have some anger about that. I'm also wondering about this may be something that he's also inherited as well.
I also wonder about your support, Joe, as far as, when we have a child that has challenges, your heart breaks because it's not a problem that you're talking about. It's the love of your life. It is your child. And so it's very discouraging when I hear professionals who just say, oh, they're ODD and there's just nothing you can do. As long as we're breathing, there's something we can do. And we can't give up hope. And I know that it's hard as a mom to think that there's no answer. But I think that there are answers. And I know with neuroscience now, we've got so many ways to help the brain be healthy. And, just like Steve said, we've got great people in that area that could help you with that.
Now, I want to clarify that when we say it's best that the father not be involved, if you're a father advocate, you might...
right, sorry.
But the research shows that when you have a drug addict in and out, inconsistent parent that's sick, you really are better of not confusing this child and increasing expectations and then great disappointment. That's what we're talking about here. In this case, it's actually better. But here's the thing. I want to send you How We Love Our Kids, see if that can be helpful. I'll send
Purposeful
you
Parenting.
And I'll send Purposeful Parenting, and then we can send you Raising Great Kids. Maybe that would help. But more than anything, Joe, male influence, this is just the best advice I think you could have gotten, is to find the male influence therapeutically and then through the church and through the mentors. And I really believe in Christian education. But as we were talking here, sometimes a Christian school is limited in resources, and sometimes a state has mandated funding for certain programs for a child like this. And so that's something for you to think about. I'm going to ask everybody to pray for you. And I'm just hoping that this could be the beginning of something different for him. The Big Brother program for a guy like this could be powerful. But a lot of times you don't need a big brother when they're involved in a youth group. And many times the bigger church has the resources for a great youth program. In other situations, a smaller church has an intimate connection that the larger one doesn't. But I'd really be exploring that. And a lot of times kids like this, they've already turned their back on anything spiritual. And they're angry that, God hasn't fixed me, so God doesn't exist? If God loved me, why would I be this way? Why would I feel this way? Why would I struggle? 1-800-NEW-LIFE if you need some help. We'll be back.
She said, we need to talk. She's asked me for the first time if I would consider myself a sex addict. You know, I thought it was just about admitting the things that I had done wrong. I never had a clue that it was about redeeming our story. You know, I thought it was just about coming clean on what I had done. I had no idea how to help her with her pain. She was a mess, I was a mess, and we got divorced. Going to EMB, surrounding myself with these other men, they accepted me for who I was and what I had done, but they challenged me to step up and do better. You know, they'll be around other men who are not just pointing the finger, but willing to get in and wade through it with them, you know, get in the trenches. They'll get hope from this workshop. Take my sweet wife and my story. We were divorced, remarried, and on our way to what I think will be the sweetest years of our lives. You know, it's no longer simply about surviving. For the first time ever, you know, we're thriving, we're enjoying where we're at.
Hey, listen, if you're struggling, we want to see you at the workshop. Give us a call, 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Last year, after Every Man's Battle, I was so moved by the transformation that I saw, not only in myself, but in the guys in our small group and the other people that were there and the stories that I heard, that I decided to go ahead and join Club New Life as a contributor to that.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
You guys are doing God's work here. You're restoring marriages. You're giving people hope. It's just been such a blessing to me, and I just wanted to encourage you all. When you see something good that God's doing, just jump on that and help support that.
Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433.
Give your support to them if you can, and just help them do what God's doing here in the world.
Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. Glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here. Let's go to Ann, Louisville, Kentucky, WFIA. Ann, how are you?
I'm fabulous. Thank you for taking my call.
You have called the wrong program.
Yeah, if you're fabulous.
I think it said Louisville, right? Louisville.
Oh, is it Louisville?
Louisville.
It is Louisville.
What did I say?
Well, some people say Louisville and Louisville. It's Louisville.
Louisville. Oh.
Ann from Kentucky, WFIA.
It's hard to say Louisville.
And it is Louisville, and however you say it is totally fine.
Thank you. How can we help you today, assuming that we can?
Oh, my God, I'm so sorry. Let's see. I'll start with my question and then give you just a bit of a background. My husband is a recovering sex addict, has been clean for 3 years. And I feel like the very last piece of our recovery is me not being able to connect in the bedroom. And I know that it is both of us, but it is a hurdle that we are just unable to get over.
Okay. So in the bedroom, is this a situation where any touch from him feels threatening to you, or you don't even let it get to an attempt? Or tell us where it stops in the bedroom.
It is mechanical, to be quite plain about it. I feel very safe. I feel I trust him, and he tries his very, very best, no matter how much guidance or practice. He was an extreme addict for most of his adult life, and including the entire time we were together. I only found out 3 years ago that he was an addict. So he is not the same person that I fell in love with. He is a different person.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that that is part of, number one, part of the problem. And number two, he never learned intimacy or passion or feeling during bedroom
Sure.
times.
There
is no feeling whatsoever. It's all mechanical. And we cannot seem to find a therapist that can suggest things that would be appropriate for a recovering addict.
Well, so one of the things that I think you may be looking for, which is someone that can help mechanically, but the issue is really you guys have a new relationship. You just said he's a totally different person. And so how are you connecting emotionally? And that is what's going to change a lot of the mechanics. So, I mean,
yeah,
for
there's
you,
lacking an emotional connection there, right? It's detached and compartmentalized.
So here's a question. Outside of the bedroom, what?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Outside of the bedroom, we're fine. We hug and are physically affectionate. I have read, we've both been through extensive therapy. I've read Hope Restored. I know the physiological and psychological things for men are different than women. But like I tell him, I can't make you feel what you don't feel. You know what I mean? I can't make him feel passion and...
so is that what the issue is, Ann? Is that what the issue is? You're saying that he is approaching it mechanically and you're more responsive?
Yeah, it's not you.
I have a block. He is approaching it more mechanically because he wants me to be happy so desperately. He wants to please me so desperately. But it's just mechanical. So, yeah, there's two issues, the mechanical in the bedroom, and I think part of it psychologically is that he's not the person I fell in love with, and I'm not attracted to him like I was when I first.
So you fell in love with a sex addict.
Yeah.
Right?
I did.
Go ahead,
I had
Steve.
no idea, but yes, I did.
Okay, and you said two things. Not the person I fell in love with, and you're not attracted to him. Well, who would be? He has traumatized you, and he destroyed this. We all have it. He destroyed the dream. Yeah. And I'm just wondering, you talk about you've had a lot of counseling and stuff, but I wonder how much grief work you've done over the fact you picked him. God didn't prevent you from picking him. You didn't see it. Have you grieved that he isn't that guy? That it was a horrible mistake, and now you want to make it the right thing. If you had known all this, you'd have never picked it. There's so much complicated grief work before you could embrace him as he is, a man that's really trying to win your heart back. He wants to please you, but this guy, he doesn't have an intimacy machine inside of him or an intimacy manufacturing process inside of him from all these years. And so I would want for you to try to look at one thing you could, and that would be this: the grief work over being traumatized by the man you chose to sleep with for the rest of your life and what he did to trounce on that. If you could do some really, really hard work there, maybe you could let go of the old guy, see what you have now, and the change in you, the acceptance of him as he is now, I think would probably make you extremely attractive to him and passionate to him versus he knows how disappointed you are. He knows you deserve to protect yourself. All of those things. I just think there's more work to be done there.
So one of the things that we talk about at the Intimacy and Marriage Workshop is sex is a good barometer for the health of the relationship. And what you just described, Ann, was that on the outside, everybody, is looking at this new man, and that you guys do real well during the day, that you're affectionate and all that kind of thing, right?
Correct.
Okay, but in these very intimate places where it's just the two of you, that isn't, you're just revealing some of the brokenness that is still needing to be healed. And I think it's, here's the great news. You have a great opportunity to have a new marriage. You got a new man who's doing, everything that he's supposed to be doing. You've done some really great work. We just got to find the link to recreate, not even recreate, to create a new relationship. It's a new relationship.
Well,
you have to forgive me too for believing so much in what we do. And if in all of this, you went to the Restore workshop, and he went, doesn't matter how much she's got back, but he went to Every Man's Battle, and then both of you came to the marriage intensive, I think you'd end up in a different place.
It's a triple header, right?
Yeah.
It's a triple header.
I've seen it.
But Anne, also looking at the fact, Steve, I think that you're right on about the grief work that needs to happen, Anne, and I kind of heard a light bulb go off for you. And just seeing your husband in a vulnerable state and not being that strong guy, there's something that was exciting about that for you, that really attracted you. So there's something in you that has a hard time with his weakness, brokenness, and vulnerability.
Well, I wonder, you just said something, Jill. I wonder, he probably wasn't very accessible in the emotional realm.
No.
And so now you've got somebody who's very accessible.
Yeah, and I think that scares you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my goodness. You all have just hit it on the head, because one of the things that we have talked about is how much he's changed. And he used to be this cocky, outgoing, confident guy. And now he's this vulnerable,
like little boy.
Lacking confidence little boy. And I don't like it at all.
Yes. So that changes the dynamic. So you have to work through that, and see the fact that he's vulnerable as something really wonderful for your marriage that you can build off of. And as you build him up in that, and he regains that confidence because he is pleasing to you, that'll all work together.
It'll be amazing.
Yeah, it'll be amazing. But you have work to do too, Anne.
And there are women that would just give anything to be married to a guy like him.
Right.
And it's hard to feel it and see it, given what you said there. But the work on your part, as he continues to do his part, this has so much hope.
Yeah. Your love and affection for him is not gone.
No.
Right? It's not gone. You've been there before, you can get back there.
This little aha moment we had here, thousands of miles apart, it just shows what can happen if you really do get in with a new counselor that loves you, cares about you, and knows what they're doing. We're going to try to help you find that person. We'll be back.
My wife had found me out and came home one weekend. She had revealed my secret. The only reason I was sorry at that time is because I had been caught. I had had the Every Man's Battle book for years and pulled that book out that weekend and found the phone number on the back and called it. And then a week later, I was at Every Man's Battle. It really gave me the start I needed for my recovery. I never had that opportunity to sit down with guys I didn't even know and totally open up. The good thing was I was opening up to guys I didn't even know. So why did I care? Just lay it all out on the table. I have nothing to lose. You need to check it out. At least go online, check out what it's about, and take the chance and go do it.
If you're struggling, call us. There are people on the other end of the line who want to hear from you, who want to help you. We don't want you to go on struggling, but you got to take that first step. Just give us a call. It's 1-800-639-5433. It's 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again.
You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800. New Life.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here. Really glad that we got to speak with her. It's what we do here. Larry, I'm so grateful we had a radio show today that somebody helped us pay for so that we could connect with her. She started with everything's great.
Fabulous.
I said, well, wrong program. And yet it really did seem to meet a need here.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's all about at New Life. I mean, it really is. It's meeting those needs and helping people. And I want to just remind, I love it when things kind of dovetail together. We've got Restore workshop starting this week on Friday. And I always like to read some little testimony so people really know why we're asking you to give and to support this ministry financially. And here's a real brief one, but it's really powerful. This is a lady who had been to Restore. Whether you've been dealing with this issue for years or just found out about it, get yourself to Restore. Not for him, not for your marriage, but for you. You owe this to yourself. I've tried everything under the sun, but this is different. This gets to the core of your being. Do this for yourself. Do it for your kids. Do it for your future. I just think that says so much. I mean,
Preach it.
Mm-hmm.
We could go on and on about Restore, but I want to go on and on about the difference your gift makes. It means somebody like that has a different life, and it means that not just their family has a different life, but for generations to come, they're going to have a different life. Mm-hmm. And if you can get behind that, please support New Life financially. One good way to do that is Club New Life. We need more and new and big Club New Life members, big in terms of how much they can support us. We'll give you the 100 days of peace, prayer, character, and what was the healing as a thank you gift. It makes a difference. I don't know how else to say it. I would say thank you, all Club New Life members who are members. If you could add $5 a month to your giving, what a difference that'll help. So I know phone calls are waiting, and we got to get back to that, but thank you.
1-800-NEW-LIFE, and everything we give is just our way of saying thank you. And $20, I'll address Kirby McCook in the Jesus Chronicles, to the child of your choice. It's just a way of trying to motivate people. Give and let us give back to you. But the giving back is really coming in the service of people hearing the program or going to one of these intensives or going to a counselor and finding new hope and new healing. Final phone call today, Debbie, Washington, D.C., WAVA. Hey, Debbie, how you doing?
Hi, thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
My question is, I'm in a loveless marriage for over 5 years.
How long have you been married? 5 years. How old are you?
5 years.
How old are you?
I'm in my 50s. I'm in my 50s.
All right.
Okay. My question is, I want to know, how do I exist or try to stay happy, or how do I stay in this marriage? A little bit of the background is on our wedding night, he didn't want to consummate our marriage. He said, let's wait till we get home. And then as weeks went by, something's wrong with his eyes. Something's wrong with his blood pressure. Let him take care of his health first. So he kept putting me off. Then I made him go to the doctor. He was diagnosed with ED.
Mm-hmm.
Now
had you been sexually active when you
Prior
were
to?
dating?
Okay, yes. Prior to marriage, we were sexually active. Then we stopped being sexually active because as a Christian, I wanted to get right with God. So there were several years in between. There was no sex. Okay. And prior to getting married, I wanted to check with him and make sure, we're still interested. He's still interested in me. I want to make sure I was making the right decision. So basically, he was diagnosed with ED. He won't take the pills. He won't take.
Why won't he take the pills? Why won't he do that?
He won't. He says he doesn't want to take the pill that makes his heart rate go up. And the thing is, the doctor had encouraged him to take the pill because prior he had a low, heart rate.
I have a question.
A low pulse.
I have a question.
Because we got to get to this because we're.
I just said on that last call that sex is a good barometer for a marriage, and we can talk all about the mechanics. My question is, are you in love with him? Because I don't feel like I'm not feeling that. I'm feeling frustration from you, and I feel like when you were describing how you guys got together, it almost sounded pretty like a business. And I don't know how that all came together, but I just want to know how you feel about all of this.
At the time we got married, I did feel like I'm in love. I don't know about now.
Okay.
Right now, I feel like, he knew this before we got married.
Yeah.
Never told me. I felt lied to.
Yeah, betrayed.
And it no matter, we tried to get counseling, he just blames it on ED. No matter what I do to try to ask him to get help, whatever the recommendations are, he won't do it.
What's the question for us, though? And let us see if we can help. What's your biggest question?
Okay. So I'm the one that needs the help.
Yes.
What can I do for myself in this situation to help myself stay in this marriage?
Well, I don't know that the goal. I don't know that the goal is to stay in
is to resign.
This particular like it's a resignation that this is my life. I want to empower you to get some work so that you can find your voice, so that then the two of you can begin towards a whole relationship if that's possible. But, I hear that there's this big tug of war going on where he just is resistant and he won't do anything. And so you just kind of have to put up with it. What I want you to do is to get involved with, get a counselor, do some work on just finding your voice again, not so that you're demanding, but to really find the truth out about yourself and about your relationship so that if there's any potential for you to have this whole healthy marriage, that's the way it's going to go.
And if you had been at our intimacy intensive, or he had been there with you, he would have heard us answer the question, is it okay to use these medications? Is it okay for us for a man to get an implant or whatever? We dealt with all of that, and so a guy can really understand what is at stake and what is the answer. But, it sounds like there were years, you said, between being sexually active as a single.
Within the last 5, right?
And the marriage. And so a lot can happen with a guy in his 50s or 60s in that time. But also, many times, sex as a single person has this element of forbiddenness and some adrenaline pumping and all of that you think, well, once I'm married, but it's not the same. And I just can't encourage you more to get him and you to the next marriage intensive, and sometimes you have to say to a guy like this, don't you think the least you could do is this one thing for me? You knew about this before you were married. We didn't deal with it. Could you just do this one last thing? If you'll do this for me, I'm not going to pressure you to do anything else. Then it's our job, to take that when you show up and do what needs to be done with it.
Well, I think there's also areas that you can work on, because I imagine he's shut down in a lot of areas, right? And that's unacceptable. So before even getting to the sexual issue, let's look at the whole marriage, the whole relationship, right? And start there with him.
Because it began
because this is unacceptable.
Betrayal.
Yes.
Betrayal. He didn't open up, didn't tell you what was going on. All right, I'm really glad. Thanks for joining us today, everybody. 1-800-NEW-LIFE if you need some help. Thank you, Becky, for being here. Thank you, Dr. Jill. It's 1-800-NEW-LIFE. See you tomorrow.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.